Welcome to another Coffee Convo. Again, I'm Jeff Packer with the Packer Group, and with me today is Nick Hopwood with Peak Wealth Management.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on board. So Nick, let's just talk a little bit about your background, what you do, who you are, and how we met.
Well, we met where we met is a fun story because New Hope, right,
Yep.
which is special to you
Yep.
and me as well. They have a great Christmas party every year, and this is probably like 6 years ago.
Yeah,
We're at the Christmas party. It was a model home, beautiful
Yep.
setting,
Yep.
great time, and we both had the same sweater on.
Yeah, yeah,
Except for it was the same sweater, but mine was red, yours was white, nice, Christmas
Yep.
colors. And I remember we kind of talked for a little bit about the sweater and we hit it off. And then I followed up with you because I wanted to connect further. And I emailed you and I said, New Hope sweater guy as the subject line to
Right.
make sure that you'd see, right?
yeah.
So that was how we met.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. That was.
I was thinking about wearing that sweater today, but I forgot.
Yeah, missed opportunity.
Maybe if we did it last month.
Yeah. For sure. So, what's your background in?
Well, I am a financial planner.
Yep.
Certified financial planner, financial advisor, investment advisor, whatever you want to call it, with a big emphasis on planning.
Right.
And my background would be econ at Michigan, graduated and started with another firm. And
Yep.
then in 2014, broke out on my own and founded Peak Wealth Management here in Plymouth.
Yep.
And now we're up to like 250 million with assets under management and 400 households and a total of 6 of us on the team.
Awesome.
So it's been a nice journey.
Well, and one of the reasons I really wanted to pull you in to a coffee convo is because in my time, I've had the opportunity to sit down with a handful of financial advisors over the years. And you are the first that I've ever sat down with that has a very comprehensive plan, and one that includes real estate ownership as part of the plan. That's a recommendation that you make that's not tied to an income revenue stream for you, right?
Correct.
Most people that I've ever talked to in your industry are gonna basically present stuff that they're making a commission on, which is fine, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But you have a different philosophy.
I love talking about it too. So you're like, just tell me when to stop.
Yeah, no, go.
Well,
I want you to dive into it.
My in-laws, I would call them developers, real estate investors. And something just really attracted me to that. I wanted to learn. So I'd ask them questions and ask. And as they educated me, right, I wanted to become a real estate investor. And as we acquired, basically like 1 duplex per year, right, kind of a slow grind, I realized that was my pension,
right,
not as well as a different investment,
right.
And I thought, this could be a pension for other people as well.
Right.
Historically, not in 2008, but historically, real estate is a low correlation to stocks.
Right.
I mean, like a a great correlator.
Right.
I should say a great zero correlation, which is a diversifier.
Right.
So it would be a way to diversify away from, it's like that guy who works at Ford. He's got a Ford pension, all of his 401 is in Ford stock, and his income is tied to Ford. Right, when Ford goes down to 99 cents, that's a problem.
That's a big problem for that
for
person.
security. Yeah. So that was my idea.
Yep.
So I've told people, if you want to, invest in real estate, I can help you. I'm not going to be your agent. Call Jeff.
Yeah.
Not going to be your agent, but I can work through the math to see if it would be something that I would want to invest in.
Correct.
If you're young and starting out and you don't have a property, you're renting right now, a great way to do it is to like go to Livonia, Redford, something like this, and buy a single family, like 2-in-1, 3-in-1 with garage. I don't know how much those are, like maybe 150.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So then you live there for 5 years.
Yep.
And then when you move out, that's your first rental.
First rental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or find a duplex, live in half.
Yes.
Even better.
Yes.
I invest for income.
Right.
Not for appreciation.
Right.
If you get the appreciation like we have in the last 5 years, terrific.
Yes.
But I base every decision just on the income.
Right.
And I want 8%.
Right. And the appreciation will come, but if you base it off of the appreciation, the reality is there are ebbs and flows to the market, right?
You're hoping for it.
Yeah.
And hope is not a strategy.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's where I've seen a lot of people, because I have been around since 2005, so I've seen the 2008, nightmare that you guys, kind of had a little bit,
Both
with
of
everything.
us. Yeah, both of us.
And the reality is I've seen where people overextended themselves and it really turned instead of the American dream, it was the American nightmare, and they lost everything and they were sunk and they had to rebuild everything afterwards. And so I think, that's where the value is to somebody who is a financial advisor and planner that can sit down with somebody and who's walking the walk,
yeah,
and can really advise them into, hey, you're in a good position to go do this and win in this, and you're not risking your portfolio, you're not risking some of this stuff. So let's talk a little bit about mortgages for a minute, because you mentioned, you would encourage everybody to try to do all of this investment with as little debt as possible. But talk about, from your perspective, in your world, 30-year mortgage versus 15-year mortgages, and what you prescribe to, what you think is best, and the whys behind that. Because I think that philosophy is an important one to discuss with people.
Yeah, so this morning we're in a meeting, Jim and I are in a meeting with a client who wants to retire in 6 years, okay, at age 62. Well, they have a 10-year note that they're 1 year in on. So there's 9 years with 6 years of work left.
Yeah.
So we said, what do we have to do to get this to be a 6-year loan?
Yeah.
They got to pay $833 a month extra.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we strongly advised.
Yeah.
We can't make them do that, but that's what they can do on their own.
Right.
So that's an example of how we think, number one, wherever your retirement goal is, 55, 65, whatever, we have to be debt free at that point.
Yeah.
Unless you have a giant portfolio, okay?
Gotcha.
Because in retirement, cash flow is king. So every $1,000 a month, right, is a couple of $100,000 worth of portfolio.
Yeah.
And that's the math.
Yeah.
Okay. So we counsel people first and foremost to do that. So if you're 50, we're not shopping for a 30-year, man. Okay.
No.
We're going for a 15.
Yeah.
And if you can't swing that payment, then you're not getting that house.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's the idea. And even with younger people, right, we're saying, look how much interest you can save with a 15-year, and it's like what, 2.6, 2.87, 3.0.
Yeah.
The rate is so low.
Yeah.
Why not swing for a 15-year?
Yeah. Yep.
That's my view.
Yep. Yeah. And I know personally, I mean, that's been our view from the get-go, and my wife and I, it's like, I don't want a mortgage hanging around by the time the kids go to college.
I like to say, who in their right mind, if you had the opportunity, would want to retire with a brand new 30-year mortgage?
Right.
Right. Foolish.
Yeah. Super.
If you can avoid it, you should.
Yeah. And I've seen way too many people who are stuck doing whatever job they're doing, whatever career they're doing, longer than they want to
because of the mortgage.
Because of that.
When you're leading into retirement, you have to stress test everything.
Yeah.
What if this? What if that?
Right.
Maybe it's inflation related, market related, health related. So this is what we do when we're helping people make that decision.
Right.
Am I ready to retire?
Right.
We have to make sure that, number one, financially, number two, have I accomplished anything? Have I accomplished what I want with my career?
Right.
Number three, what am I gonna do?
Right.
I got 40, 50 hours to replace, plus drive time. Yeah.
Right.
And then fourth, is my spouse on board?
Yeah.
But number one has to be financial.
Yeah.
Or else everything else could be doomed.
Yep.
My mom retired in October of 07, right before the 08 crash. But because we stress tested, right, she's fine. Right?
Yeah.
But now, wait, you were asking about mortgage. I got to go back to one more thing, okay? When you're an investor with the mortgage, when you're calculating these returns, right? Like I said, I want 8%. That's the first part of it, is if you're paying cash for it,
right.
Okay? But if you're introducing a mortgage, it adds a couple components, because this 10-year calculation, we want it paid off in 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
The tenant pays off the mortgage for you.
Yep.
We have to make sure the rent will cover the other costs we talked about, plus that 10-year payment.
Yep.
And that way you're not coming out of pocket.
Right.
And in year 11, it's all profit, right? Okay.
Yep.
Now, you can also use leverage, right, to accumulate a ton of properties all at once.
Right.
Which this is how people like either make it big,
Right.
or they
fall hard.
Yeah, they're out. Yeah. Bankruptcy.
And I think that's where, again, like if you are talking to somebody who they're looking to do that, I think it's so much more important to sit down and really look at the numbers, not just what their income is, not just some of this other stuff, but there's so many other variables that you want to mitigate that risk. So let me talk a little bit about some resources, because I think it's great for us to be able to have this dialogue, for people to kind of maybe get an introductory to some of these things, an introductory to Peak Wealth Management, to the Packer Group, things like that, why we can bring some of the value that people are experiencing. But what resources have you found to be extremely helpful for you, either personally or something you encourage your clients to grab if this is something they're looking at doing real estate investing?
A book that I read called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. I believe it's like James Keller, the Keller Williams guy.
Yes.
James Keller.
Yep, Keller. Yep.
He's the author. It's an older one. Concept is like buy $1 million worth.
Right.
Like go buy 4 duplexes over the next 4 years.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then you can follow the formula.
Right.
That really got me excited.
Yeah.
One other resource, which is kind of a side note, is the state of Michigan property tax thing.
Yes.
People always, whether it's their own house or a rental, they always forget about the property tax bump.
Yep.
And let me
tell you,
they
get reassessed when you purchase a home. And if you take a primary residence and convert it to a rental, now it's a secondary residence, there's an additional bump that people need to know. So that's, to your point, that's a very important resource. You also have an awesome podcast that has lots of loaded with great content. You have talked specifically about a lot of this stuff, along with lots of other things. So I would highly recommend people tune in to the Peak Wealth Management podcast. And so you can find that on pretty much anywhere there's podcasts, right?
Just type in Nick Hopwood or Jim Pilot, Pilat.
Yep.
And you'll find it.
And I think you've got 2 things that I think is really kind of always neat. You've got the Nick Needs to Know series, right? Hashtag Nick Needs to Know, where you invite your tribe to give insight to a burning question you have. Sometimes it's super serious, sometimes it's silly, but it's a great series. And then you've got, as a follow-up though to that, is hashtag Nick Needs You to Know.
Yes.
And that's where you put some really, really good content.
That's like 60 seconds on here's why you need an HSA.
Yeah,
or
that was one of your more recent
here's why
ones.
you need a Roth 401.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, I've referred a bunch of people over to Nick over the years and to Peak Wealth Management, and I get nothing but glowing reviews from people going, thank you for sending us over to Nick or Jim. They are awesome. And so I just want to say thank you for taking good care of the referrals over the years that we've been able to pass along to you. And obviously, if you're in the market to have somebody look at your portfolio, give you advice, and you're looking for somebody who's not just pushing stuff that's going to benefit their pocketbook. You're really looking for somebody who's really going to benefit you, your family, and the legacy that you want to leave. I really think that Peak Wealth Management is doing a fantastic job, better than I would say anybody I've met with, but better certainly than most. And I think that they definitely, you should check them out. And so what's the best ways for people to get a hold of you guys?
The website's PeakWM, as in peakwealthmanagement.com. PeakWM. And I also want to thank Jeff and the team. Seems like yesterday, but last year now, we sold our house and it was a great experience. I would recommend Jeff and the team for your personal residence, whether you're looking to purchase or sell. And also, like I said, the #1 property that I'll never sell. Sorry.
You should never sell it.
It's our gem,
yes.
Right? The one in Pinckney. Jeff found it for us off the market, which is even more impressive.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.